Got quite a few windsurfers out this morning or this afternoon, right over here. Kanaha Beach. Quite a good view there of Kahului and Wailuku. That's Wailuku. It kind of comes to a point up there. We're entering the Iao Valley. Those are macadamia nut orchards behind Wailuku Heights there. Those very well tended looking trees. You know about macadamia nuts, don't you? No? Well, if you plant one in the ground, it takes about 7 years before the tree is finally mature enough to grow one nut. That's the first year that it will ever produce nut fruit. They introduced the tree to Maui in 1930. They had introduced them to the Big Island in 1870. They realized their potential. 7 years after they first planted these crops of macadamia nuts on Maui, they still didn't have any machinery. If you've ever held a macadamia nut in your hand with a full shell on it, a 5-pound sledgehammer and a full swing is almost not enough to break it. Very, very tough shell. Really tough. And pardon me, I just had to talk to radar control there for a moment. They've released us. That can only mean one thing. Now that we're not any longer on radar, I'm probably going to get lost here. So, did you bring your map with you? No? So I was going to tell you about the macadamia nuts anyhow. When Wailuku got their first crop of macadamia nuts in, 7 or 8 years after they planted all the trees, they didn't have a machine to break the shells with. They didn't know what they were going to do, so what they did was they poured them all out on the streets of Wailuku and ran over them with cars and trucks. You can imagine what it was like trying to sell chocolate-covered macadamia nuts with Goodyear tire prints on them. But they managed to get them all taken care of. We're going to take a little step back in time here. This is called the Waihe'e Valley. That's a true story about those macadamia nuts. Matter of fact, Hawaii produces about 80% of the world's consumption. Some huge plantations on the Big Island. About 2 million years ago, the island began forming by poking its nose above the surface of the ocean. And Pu'ukukui, which is located way up there, and Pu'uke'e, which is up there, were the two primary vents for the volcano that formed the West Maui Mountains. And that went on for about 500,000 years. And then after about 800 or so thousand years, the mountain just quit erupting and went extinct. And because we happen to be flying into the middle of a mountain that is the second wettest place on the entire surface of the Earth, all of this very dramatic canyon land and rivers and ravines have been formed as a result of water erosion. This is called the Valley of Tears, in commemoration of a great battle that took place between the Mauians and the forces of King Kamehameha. Well, he wasn't king then, but Kamehameha. 200 war canoes landed on the north shore of Maui, and he was here to fight or talk in an effort to unify the islands under the control of one king. A huge battle took place. And in commemoration of those that died, this was then called from then on the Valley of Tears, or the Wall of Tears. Folks, don't try this with your rental car. We have the opportunity of seeing something rather unique simply because it's not raining. Normally this is enshrouded in cloud, and normally it's got some of that 420 inches or more of rain falling on it. What I'm talking about is this big bluff here just off to the left of me and a bit to the front, this big rock with a flat top on it. This is Pu'uke'e, one of the first, or one of the original volcanic plugs. And this was the actual throat of the old volcano, and that's an extrusion of lava, all right? The point here is that because of the fact that it's normally enshrouded in cloud and usually being rained on, the plants up on the top of Pu'uke'e are naturally miniaturized. Very unique species of almost totally indigenous bonsai plants as a result of Mother Nature. the valley of Hanakahau. And this is the Hanakahau waterfall. It's the second tallest, constant flowing, free-falling waterfall in the Hawaiian island chain. That's quite a qualification, but there are some waterfalls that are taller, but they only fall intermittently depending upon the rainfall above them. This one never stops. 1,120 feet in height. Not saying I can do anything about it, but let me know. There's that Pu'uke'e again, right just down the right-hand side. Remember that battle I was talking about just a moment ago, and the Wall of Tears? Well, this is where it took place, right in here. This is the Iao Valley. And old Kamehameha and the boys had the Mauians against the wall back here. And as the relatives of the Mauians actually were sitting on the sides of the valley watching the battle take place, they were watching the Mauians literally slaughtered. Story has it that the bodies were of such a number the streams were dammed, and the wounds were so severe that the waters ran red with the blood of those that were injured and dying. Eventually, the islands all came under the control of one king. That battle, however, wasn't the decisive battle, but it was leading up to it. Right down there is the Iao parking lot, where you can see what's called the Iao Needle. Now, from here you can't see the needle because it's a ridgeline. In fact, from the parking lot, you're looking on the edge of the ridgeline, and it looks like a single spire. But what you're looking at from here is that very, very low saddle-backed ridge that's kind of half green and half gray down there. And on the right, that's what's called the Iao Needle. This is the Waikapu Valley right here. We're just crossing over. That's the Waikapu Golf Course right down in front of us there. And you can see why we call it the Valley Isle, or why it's called the Valley Isle, Maui. valley formed by the lava flows of the West Maui Mountains and also the lava flows of Haleakala. While we're traveling overhead Kihei, there's more than one down in the bay there, but some are a bit harder to see than others. That one was very evident when it came out of the water like that. They normally don't do just one breach, they do a number of them, so it might happen again. Now, folks, we're going to be landing here just a little while. And when we do, it'll take me about 2 minutes to shut everything down. So just please keep your seats with your seat belts on. And then after we do shut down, I'll get out and open the doors for you. We'll be on the ground for about 20 minutes before we continue on with our flight. This is the Ulupalakua Ranch. It's a large beef cattle ranch, about 23,000 acres of cattle country. Oh yeah, Donna, are the wheels down? I don't know. No, we don't have any wheels on this one. That's our picnic table right in front of us. This land? Yeah, the ranch land, yes. Those lava flows on the right down there, those are the last flows that occurred in 1790 out of Haleakala from the vents off to our left. Just 208 years ago. Haleakala is not an extinct volcano, it's dormant. See how dry it is here on this side? This is what's called the leeward side of the island. as the trade winds blow, normally from the northeast, they bring with them the warm, moist air off of the ocean. And that warm, moist air climbs up the mountain, cools at about 3 degrees Fahrenheit per 1,000 feet in elevation. The clouds are formed through condensation. The clouds become heavy with moisture and it rains. That's the way it works over on the windward side. We're on the leeward side. Very seldom do the laden or moisture-laden clouds ever reach this side of the island with still some rain in them. Hence, on the other side, you get upwards of 300 inches of rain annually. And over here, like at Kihei and Wailea, you get an average rainfall yearly of about 12 to 15 inches. So if you don't like where you're living because maybe it doesn't rain enough, or it rains too much, or it's too windy, or it's not windy enough, you just choose your spot. That is, I suppose, if you can afford it. Some places on the island are considerably more expensive to live land-wise and home-wise than others. There's the floor of the crater on the eastern end. You can see a couple of pu'us there. That's a pu'u is a hill or a small erupting little miniature volcanoes at the top. What I'm going to do, folks, is I'm going to just go right back down again. I think the north side is going to be our better access, simply because of less cloud over there. Going to come on back down and continue on around the mountain, better accessibility to the north side. Those two mountains over there, the one on the left, that's Mauna Kea, and the one on the right, that's Mauna Loa. Mauna Loa in Hawaiian means long mountain. You can see how long and broad she is. And Mauna Kea, that means white mountain. That's the one that normally has snow on it during the winter times. There's a 5-mile ski run up there. Interesting thing about both of those mountains is they're quite large. Mauna Kea is the tallest standing single mountain in the world, coming up from the ocean's floor at 33,000, just under 500 feet. And Mauna Loa, a couple of hundred feet below or beneath that one in height. However, Mauna Loa is the largest landmass mountain in the world, in as much as it has over 10,000 cubic miles of land or lava or dirt, however you want to look at it. That's enough to build a 4-lane freeway, 2 feet thick, around the equator of the Earth, 64 times. Now, depending on which way you're coming around the island, and I might tell you that this section of the road right down here beneath us, this is the one that the rental car agencies would prefer not knowing that you drove on, if you do. The reason for that is because when it does rain, great amounts of water come down these valleys and cross the road and wash part of them out. So your 1998 Taurus 2-door sports sedan on one side might end up looking like a 56 Chevrolet pickup truck by the time you get across the dry wash on the other. And then you've got to explain that to Avis. But, anyway. That community on the right down there, that's Kipahulu. That's probably most noted for the fact that the great American aviator Charles Lindbergh lived there for the last 16 years of his life. He and the Rockefellers lived in the same neighborhood, and he and the Rockefellers were very instrumental in forming the Ohio Gorge and Valley Conservation Area, which is what we're coming up on right now, that extends all the way up into the mountain to the left. It's a primitive area. We can't fly up there. You can't walk up there, not because you can't, impossibly. It's just the fact that it's closed to all foot traffic, and there's absolutely no driving of vehicles up there either. It was formed in an effort to help protect some 800 species of endangered flora and fauna that are native to the Hawaiian Islands and also to Maui. And those are drops of rain. Hooray. Right at the foot of the gorge, right down there, you'll see a parking lot just to the right of the foot of the gorge, and a ranger station and a little campground. Normally when there's cars parked there, it's a bit more identifiable. That's the location of what you may have heard called the 7 Sacred Pools. Right down at the very foot, at the bridge, just down there on the right, that's where the bridge crosses the gorge and where the pools are located. There's the parking lot. You'll be able to see 3 or 4 of the pools, again, depending on how much water we've had falling from the top of the mountain down through the stream. There are, in fact, 24 pools all the way up the Ohio Gulch. It's a lovely spot. Great place for a Valentine's Day lunch or a wedding. This large valley we're coming up on here is the Kainai Valley. At the head of it is the Ko'olau lava flow coming out of the volcano, or out of the crater. You can imagine the walls of the valley. They used to probably meet in the bottom of a common riverbed some thousands of years ago. The lava coursed its way down through that valley. It's got a rather flat floor in it now. I'm afraid not. This little community right in front of us of Honolulu, that one that's on the peninsula there, lying very low in the water. Honolulu, a rather traditional Hawaiian community. They grow taro there. You know what taro is, don't you? That's what makes poi, right? They grow it in those fields, much like a rice field. It's got to be in the water. 1948, they were forewarned of a tsunami or a tidal wave heading their way from Alaskan waters due to an undersea earthquake, moving across the water at about 350 miles an hour and about 40 feet high. They all were evacuated. They went to high ground and then just sat there and watched this huge wave engulf their community, and when it receded, there wasn't a thing left. Last tidal wave recorded, if I'm not mistaken, in Hawaii is 1954, somewhere on the Big Island. Right down here on our left, I'll just tilt the aircraft a bit so you can see it. Everybody see that rock right there? Everybody remember Jurassic Park, the opening scenes to Jurassic Park with a helicopter coming across the ocean to the island for the first time? Well, that's where it started, about 2 miles out there, and that was the shot going into the island right there. So, we call that Jurassic Rock. Pretty original, huh? Right down here where all the cars are parked, just on the right, that's Ho'okipa Beach. You can drive out there and have a look around. This is the home of the world-famous windsurfing champions. In Hawaii, they have the national and the international world windsurfing champions there, championships. We're expecting quite a large swell over the next couple of days. Great big waves going to be coming into the North Shore. And if the wind kicks up, we'll have some remarkable examples of the windsurfing skills. This is the little town of Paia and the Paia sugar mill right here in front of us. Now, Paia is quite nice. If you go to Paia, have a bite of lunch or maybe even a dinner. Got some good value for money little boutique and gift shops down there. I like Paia. It's quite a nice little place. Be prepared, however, when you walk down the streets of Paia, you'll think you're perhaps back on the corner streets of Haight-Ashbury during the mid-'60s. A number of alternate lifestyle sorts of people live there. Friendly sorts. And on the right, that's the Maui Beach Golf and Country Club.